What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, we are making good or covering good ground on these comments. In the last video, if you watched that one, we got within a week, and now here we are 8 days out. So we are going to just continue this. Again, I just want to say thank you to all of you who leave comments, or thoughtful comments, or even not thoughtful comments. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to do so. This has been a really fun kind of addition to the channel. So let's go ahead and jump in. The bots in modern format are working. That was the video that I posted. And Erroneous said, I'm in gold 2 now. Almost gold 1. Congrats. Okay, so Stever says, yeah, and a good reason to set it at 1 million is that after I got to 500K, I had no reason to get more, so I don't buy and even burn some to DEC. So this is talking about adding thresholds, staking thresholds for, what's that called, for SPS. Again, it's just nudging people to, just get a little bit more. Get this little title, get this little badge, get this little whatever. Again, we're all going to be accumulating it for the most part, right? Because it's just like, what are you going to do? Sell it or burn? You're not going to burn it right now. I mean, maybe Stever will to help us, but are you going to sell it? Like, I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong. You can. Maybe you should. I don't know. But at this point, like, at this point, I'm just stacking it because I'm curious to see what happens. All right, so Apollo says, can you make a video and explain what a liquidity pool is? How does it make money, and how do you make money from adding to it? Also, can you explain who and what the DAO is? You have a great way of explaining these things. Okay, well, I feel like I already have videos for liquidity pools, so I'm going to try to answer your question here. If you want me to go into further detail or do a separate video, I can. But I would recommend looking up that other video. Again, I know I have a lot of content out there, and so, but it would probably be in the title, something about liquidity pools. Now, okay, here's the basics for liquidity pools. And again, none of this financial advice. I'm just trying to explain it, how it works. So, this is one of the biggest things that we had in like the DeFi summer, right, of 2020, where it came around where you could essentially have these decentralized markets that people could participate in. What do you mean by decentralized? Well, you wouldn't be having to go through a centralized exchange. And if you just think about traditional markets, for example, they're always run by someone, right? For example, look at all the GameStop stuff that's been happening. Whenever things get crazy, they can just shut it down. They can just halt trading, right? So what they were trying to build was a decentralized market where, again, in the spirit of decentralization, censorship resistance, right? All that kind of stuff. Like, you could just go in and you could participate, and anybody could participate, right? So that's why there's a lot of scams out there too. But automated market makers, AMMs, like this was the whole kind of innovation behind it, is because anybody then could provide liquidity. And what you would do is you would put 50-50 or like half and half percentage in terms of, like, we'll just call it like US dollar value. So you would put that and provide that as liquidity, adding depth to a pool there to make it so that if people wanted to swap from one token to another, they could do so. And whenever they did, there'd be a small fee charged that will be paid out to the people providing liquidity, right? So the best way that I could explain it is you want to swap SPS for DEC, right? And there's an SPS and DEC pool. So you go in and there's a pool there. You can go and when you are a user of the pool, not a provider, but when you're a user of the pool, you are going to go in and you are going to swap one for the other at whatever the market rate is. And there's going to be a fee, right? Usually it's something small, 0.25%. It's nothing like super crazy. So you're going to pay that fee. You're going to get it. And there's like an item called like slippage, right? Or price impact, for example, because if there's not much liquidity, that means that the price is going to move in a very volatile way, meaning if there's like not much like SPS, for example, let's say you have DEC and you're buying SPS. Well, let's say there's only like 100 SPS tokens. And if the amount of DEC that you're going to bring in is going to eat up like, 50 SPS tokens, then all of a sudden, like, the pool gets out of balance and the price for SPS starts to go up in terms of DEC, right? Because it's higher and higher. There's there's more DEC in the pool and there's less SPS. So therefore that price is determined by the pool of liquidity that's provided. So that's what it is as a user. You come in as a provider now. How do you make money from it? Okay, well, let's say you have $100. So you buy $100 worth of $50 worth of SPS. You buy $50 worth of DEC. You put it into the pool at that level, right? So 50-50 percentage. Now, at the end of the day, the prices of SPS and DEC are going to go all over the place. But what you will always have is a certain percentage of the pool, right? So if you put in $100 worth and there's $1,000 worth of liquidity, then you own 10% of the pool, meaning that anytime somebody uses the pool and that 0.25% fee gets charged to them, it gets paid out to liquidity providers. There's $1,000 worth of liquidity. You get 10% of that because your liquidity was $100. Now, what gets crazy here is that, markets are dynamic and they're diverse because there's an SPS DEC pool, there's a DEC Hive pool, there's a SPS BNB, SPS whatever, right? SPS voucher. So these prices are always kind of crazy and changing, and people are buying and selling. And yes, it is possible for both assets to go up. It's possible for both assets to go down. Now, that wouldn't be the case if we lived in a vacuum, but we don't live in a vacuum. So what ends up happening is that you will always own that kind of 10% share of the pool, unless more people come in and add liquidity, then your percentage goes down, or people take out liquidity, at which point your percentage would go up, right? Somebody came and they took out $500 worth of liquidity. Now you go from 10% up to 20%, right? Or whatever the number is. So that's how you can make money from it, because you're paid out a percentage of the fees. In addition, right, and I want to be very clear about this, by providing liquidity for a game like Splinterlands, a project like Splinterlands, they pay you an additional amount, which you can claim in game, right? So normally that's not necessarily the case, although I will say on a standard perspective, that's not the case, right? Although there's a lot of incentives out there, whether it's with PancakeSwap, Uniswap, right? There's always different kinds of incentives that people get to entice people to put liquidity in, because at the end of the day, right, the 0.25%, 0.5% fees, unless there's a ton of volume happening, it doesn't add up to much. But if you're in a high volume pool, that return could actually be quite good. Now, the last thing I'll say, because again, this is not financial advice, but just if you want to get involved with liquidity pools, the one thing that you should understand is impermanent loss. And I'm not the best person to explain it. I think it's something that you should research, because it is a risk. And the quick and dirty on that, which I know I said I wouldn't explain it, but the quick and dirty on that is, again, let's say you put in $100 worth, right? 50-50. Let's say you're the only one that's provided to the pool, right? So there's $50 worth of SPS, $50 worth of DEC. If somebody comes in and they buy SPS, right? Buy SPS, and therefore they're selling DEC for that, your pool, and whether that's you own the entire pool or you just own a percentage, you would have less SPS at a higher price, right? And more DEC. Because what they did is when they came in, they deposited their DEC and they took out SPS out of the pool, of which you have either a percentage share, or in this example, you own the entire pool. So in that way, you now own less SPS tokens and more DEC tokens. And so therefore that can be a risk if you are concerned with the amount of tokens that you require. Now, for many people, including myself, a lot of times when I go into liquidity pools, I just care about the overall US dollar value, right? So it's just like, it doesn't matter how much SPS or how much Hive or how much DEC in terms of tokens I have, as long as the US dollar that they amount to is higher than whatever I put in, right? Because whether that's accumulation through fees, or let's say SPS starts going up, or let's say it's the SPS Hive pool and both of them start going up, fantastic. But that's hopefully that provided you with a good breakdown. I felt like I went longer into that, but hopefully it was helpful. Okay. IGN Ryan 600 says maybe multiple levels of SPS badges for different levels of SPS staked, and maybe if you earn enough badges or achievements, you can get a title. I think that'd be awesome. Also, there should be more badges than just SPS staked. Yeah, again, all of that stuff I think is really cool. Ryan also says, I do like the idea of soulbound, and if you remove your stakes, you lose the badges, achievements, possibly your title if you don't have enough badges. Yeah, again, the thing is, titles have just become abused. I wish there was another thing in game, like maybe you get customization on like an avatar or something. It doesn't need to be, again, it's got to be soulbound, and it's got to be something that disappears if you ever go below, but we need something that makes it more exciting, and that just gives you that added flexibility. All right, so Basil says, love these ideas. Thank you so much. Pao says, you need to change that intro. I missed your live streams. I know. Every time I say the intro now in these videos, I know that I'm lying, so I apologize. But I do want to get back to them. It's just it's been a little crazy for me. For people that care, I'm actually working on a new music project right now, which is very exciting, but it's also taking a lot of time, and I'm having fun with it. So I will get back to live streams once things settle down a little bit. All right, so Palace also says turn off renting of SPS, make people need to buy it. I mean, that's a fantastic idea, but I actually also like the rental availability because it offers a cheaper alternative if and when SPS starts to go up. Banana says, good. The last thing the game needs is any more cards. A lot of people agreed with you on this. This is on the video that I said, Rebellion obviously will not have a mini set. Oscu says, right move. It would have been suicide to issue a mini set in the current state of the game. Sentiment of the community. Good move. Awesome. Snowballs agrees, or just says another one. Vlogging says, it's more important to concentrate on what is currently being developed. All planned Rebellion cards need to be released even before even testing about the possibility of a new set. I'm also done putting more money in this project before it shows it can deliver something on the investment side and not just keep on making all-time lows. Yeah, well, that's unfortunately where we're at. All right, so Ghostly BG says, Matt had mentioned this in a comment on Peaked a month ago. Oh, I missed it. Paul asked him about it again because I posted that code match chat 2 weeks ago. PS, dude, you've not even maxed your CL deck, but you want them to release monthly promo cards. Will you buy at least one? I don't know. I don't think so. Probably not. But I want everybody else to. All right. Supreme Victory Network says, I'm buying packs right now. All right. Very cool. Chris West says, this is why players are leaving, not going to make a set to sell in order to make a set to give away to the bots. I don't think I understand that. What do you mean by that? I mean, they were always going to do a Soulbound reward set. Is that what you're referring to? And I don't think that's giving away to the bots. Okay, well, maybe you can add a little bit more there. All right, this is a parallel comment, so we'll skip over that. But Copy Trading TV, you're welcome. Gathering the Magic says, instead of a low-level card penalty, how about not allowing cards to be played unless they meet the minimum level of requirement for your rank? So you have the lowest silver, you need max bronze cards. I don't know. I think the penalty is fine. I think not allowing people to play with the cards in the game is kind of antithetical. If you don't give the full rewards, that's more in line with what I think we're seeing from other games too. Again, it's a good thought, if not a bit extreme, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I agree with it, Gathering Magic. All right, Trat says, at this point, there's nothing exciting on Splinterlands. Time to move on. You tell me, and tell me where you're moving on to. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been playing many other games, so it is what it is. But I am interested to know. Scott Thompson said, instead of constantly changing Wild, why not just use the same anti-bot rules for Modern and Wild? Stick some Splinterlands, run bots in there for match liquidity, and just get rid of bots. Whole argument on them for years has been match liquidity. If there are non-resource skimming bots run by the company, then why tolerate bots? Ghosty BG has an interesting response here because all the people who don't have time to play or the ones who are just straight up admit the SPL for them is just a DeFi platform will not allow a bot ban to happen in Wild. Such a proposal is never passing. Yeah, I mean, again, and this is coming from somebody that does run a bot, even though I've been playing most of my energy lately. And if a bot thing ever came to Wild, I mean, I would play, right? So that's just what it comes down to. I genuinely enjoy the game that much. To answer your question, I mean, I think Ghostly BG did a good job, although I think it's a little, I think that's a little of an exaggeration that they wouldn't let it happen. I do think that there are many people who just view Splinterlands as an investment type of situation, and for them, botting is a good option. There's also a lot of the player investors, and I mean, I might even fall into this, even though I like to play the game a lot, where the one thing that you do not get, for example, if you're not botting your account, is you don't get whatever the rewards in the game are, because there could be a place for investors only, right? Where you just rent out your cards, but if we go down that route and people who don't have the time to necessarily play all the time, they wouldn't be able to collect the Soulbound cards. They wouldn't be able to play in like their tournaments and brawls. And in a way, I always talk about there's no space for casual players in Splinterlands. Maybe I need to redefine that and say like botting in Wild is like the way for casual players to be in Splinterlands, because then they know that, their account is getting the most out of what they need. again, rebranding it as that is not me necessarily defending bots, but I do genuinely believe there needs to be a space for casual players. And so that's a separate topic completely. But it's relevant simply because of the fact that we have a lot of casual players, we'll call it, that just end up botting their accounts and play, only in their brawls or tournaments or such. Okay, International Travel Channel, thank you so much. I always appreciate you leaving comments on the videos. It does help the algorithm, whatever that is or whatever that means, but I appreciate you, brother. All right, so Mark says, if we go back to the system with the card level penalties, then we will start having massive bot farms of soulbound cards that will go up to the higher leagues. You're right when you say CP requirement was easy to mitigate, but that was back in the time when there were 2-3 USD packs in chests. Interesting, okay. So income for bot farm from these packs alone. Now the chests are gone, SPS is down. There's no way I could rent the CP requirement for silver and still make a profit. Okay, that's interesting. And definitely a different way to look at it. It's just, to me, the gate is already SPS, which again, it's not much of a gate when SPS is trading at a penny and it's oversupplied. But the truth is that it's the same for cards anyway. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Although I was never in favor of the CP thing because it can be gamed so easily, but I don't know. I don't have a dog in this fight, as you could probably tell. I'm becoming apathetic, which is probably not a good sign. All right, so Pomp says energy waste is one of the reasons players bot. I don't have time. I can't win. Remove the 50 energy cap. Consume energy only if you win. That's an interesting thought too, but there's got to be the math behind that's got to be weird. So it's just like everybody gets 50 wins per day. We'd be getting way more games per day. Interesting thought, though. Pomp says, I've opened up 200 chests on map server. I got 2 beta packs and over 300 energy. Getting some energy is cool, but it's probably dropping a bit too much right now. Well, they changed all this stuff anyway because it went crazy. Javi San says, I remember the survey Weirdbeard made. I forgot what it was about and what it made the team do, but yeah, I can't help but think it's useless. Well, look, I mean, your time is valuable. If you don't want to spend it doing that, then don't. But some people do, Javi. Eroni says, yeah, good job on Nate and Gator for running the town hall. It was a fun one. I'm glad that they are bringing chess back, says Bananas. You're not the only one. All right, 10 Steps says that the game is slowly but surely dying. I regret not going out sooner. I'm sorry for you. I wish you had gotten out sooner too. Pomp says they probably should get rid of reward cards too. I think that's probably just sarcastic. Brave Tofu says, I admire your ability to respond to salty comments in a thoughtful and poised manner. Oh, well, thank you, Brave Tofu. I appreciate that. DJ Khaled, another one. Tilly Tots says, if they put card level requirements back into Wild without giving me the choice of moving up in the league or not, I think that'll be me out for good, to be honest. Oh, I'm sorry, Tilly Tots. Lots of changes, lots of unhappy people. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do it, but it seemed like Matt was leaning that way. And I mean, that's not something that they would even need to consult the community on. He could just do that if he wanted to. So we'll see. All right. Powell says, I think you should probably consolidate the same questions in one, give yourself some time back. I appreciate that. It would probably take more time for me to go through the questions ahead of time and then answer them. It'd also be a lot more work. Right now, I just get to scroll, see everything kind of off rip and just jump into it. So, I'm enjoying this format. Hopefully it's not, annoying for other people. Asma says, how can we keep track of Matt's answers in that Discord room? Want to get overcrowded by random comments? Would be good if your videos covered these. Well, whenever I see comments in there, I will... whenever I see comments that I think are worth discussing, I will bring it up. But, it sucks because, town halls are where we're used to information being, but it is what it is. All right, so Mitch says, this is absolutely never happening, but I would love a mini set of cards that can't be used in battles, but is only used for land. Well, you never say never. Excuse me. Having a level 10 common plow to help your farm all the way to a level 4 legendary magical centrifuge for sifting out magical components. I know that Matt is probably cursing land every time somebody mentions it, since funds collected have been spent 4 years earlier with no ROI. I'm still saying land won't be usable until 2030, and that is my bullish opinion. That is far out. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you. I'm thinking 2026. Fat Jimmy says, to your point, I think there was a time period in which people would have definitely gone for a land-only card But that time has passed now. And until they can get land back on track, I don't think there'll be any appetite or demand for it. Fat Jimmy says, I agree with you 100,000%. This is about the future pack prices being reduced. $4 packs are way too high and discourage participation. $2 packs would give the company a lot more sales volume and price cards where they should be. It would also make Rebellion cards from $4 packs valuable in the long run, since they're very rare and pricey set. I literally see only upsides to reprice. See, I came to the same conclusion as you, Jimmy. So I don't know. I don't know why people look at that and say it will devalue Rebellion. It won't. I mean, Rebellion is always going to have its value, and it has its core or base price. Will it be cheaper for new players to come into the game? Yes, but it'll also be cheaper for you to continue playing in Modern. Everybody will be on a level playing field in the future. All right, Billy J says, I'm eager for the team to get some fun player experience, partially because I want to go on missions and achievements. If they do it right, be fun and teach people the beauty and nuance of the game. I have a set budget for packs, so if it's high, I only buy a few, and if it's low, I would buy more. I assume others are similar to me. They can decide how much I buy, but my budget doesn't really change. Yeah, I mean, that's how it is, I think, for most people. Well, that's how I'm saying people should approach it. It's just, this is the game, so apply your gaming budget. And I know a lot of people come into it for the investment side, but just know that you're trading like a highly volatile micro cap project that has a bunch of assets of which, there has never been enough demand to justify whatever the supply is, right? Maybe in the fall of 2021, that was it, because supply was so low and there was actually demand at that time. But ever since then, tokenomics, team execution, whatever you want to call it, like none of those things have gotten us to a point where we see demand outstrip supply. And supply grows every day and demand actually goes down every day because more and more people leave. All right, so Gabriel says, I would love to see more GLG content. I've been farming about 1,500 GLX per day. What is that, 2 cents? I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. With 2 teams in Global League for a much smaller investment in Splinterlands, I feel this game deserves a fresh look. Love your content. I will try to give it a fresh look. Thank you for the heads up on that. The game has just not been... It just didn't seem worth it. I'm curious to know the numbers behind your ROI, because I obviously didn't spend much or anything in the game. I'd be willing to try it out. I didn't think the game was that bad. It's just the problem it's like at the time that I was playing any games, which was, I don't know, probably months ago at this point, or maybe even last year, I didn't have a lot of cards. They were all like level 1, and it was like almost impossible for me to win because I was going up against people at the highest levels of the league, since there was only one league. So yeah, maybe it's time for me to check it out. But I'll be honest, I'm very disappointed in the Invenium side of this because there's just been a lack of communication. I know that there's like office hours and things like that, but there's just delays, lack of communication. Even my desire for my anticipation for moon carts is dead, right? Like, I would love to sell those packs if I could. It's just, it would just be so difficult, and I would lose out so much on that. But if they can get moon carts out, I thought it was supposed to be out in April. I thought moon carts was supposed to be out in April. I thought Soul Keep was supposed to be out April or this month. Yeah, you can probably hear it in my voice. I'm just tired, frustrated, and out of patience. All right, Asman says, where did Matt say about nerfing low-level cards again? What did he say? That was in the Town Hall chat. He was just responding to some folks there, I believe. So he's doing a lot more question and answers in there. Another one, thank you, International Travel Channel. Thank you, RK30,000. Joffrey says, I've spent over $500 in apparition cards in parallel in the last 4 weeks trying to climb leaderboard. Meanwhile, I couldn't buy one meta card in Splinterlands. Grimberdy Smith, this game is too expensive for me and probably everyone else, and I really can't afford to play $10,000 for an effing game. Yeah, man. I'm right there with you. What's been beautiful about Parallel for me, and I have not played Parallel in 3 weeks at this point, is the fact that I paid $30 to get into the game. I made several $100s right away, which again, I got in at a good time. I don't think you can make it back that fast, but I was able to play competitively into gold level, right? And I was able to play, competitively into gold level and earn and have a good time and not feel like I needed to recoup my cost and investment, right? Because I did already. It was fast. So therefore, Parallel was awesome because it became this casual kind of gameplay for me. Whereas Splinterlands still doesn't have that. And obviously, in order to get in, it's like way too expensive. So I'm actually hopeful that the renting, since things are cheap right now, can drive some activity. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's tough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, spending like even a couple $100s on a game right now to me seems outrageous. And I think the only reason many of us did it was because we were all flush with cash from gains in the 2021 bull run. And so I think that the only way that happens again for a game like Splinterlands is we have a massive bull run in the same kind of vein as 2021. Wow, we're only 4 days behind, guys. And I know there's probably a ton of comments even still, but let's go ahead and wrap this up, and then we'll try to catch up over the rest of the weekend. So Apollo says, can you please explain what an LP is? Where is it? How do owners make money? How do you make money? Okay, so you posted this comment earlier, I think, but I did answer it, so hopefully that was helpful for you, Apollo. But good question, regardless. I do want people to be able to learn this stuff because it's fascinating to me. So Dom says, Peps McGregor says SL is good. All right, I don't know who Peps McGregor is, but let's go. Siab says, if there's no mini set for Rebellion, does it mean the next major set will come sooner, like January 2025? I don't know. That's a good question because it's a long time. I don't think it would come January 2025. Instead of it being an 18-month, like there's no way that they would do it, because I think, even though Aggie was the one who always said this, I think Matt probably still agrees that there's probably a good time. It's probably good to have time in between the sellout or burnout of a set and the launch of the next one. So my guess is we still see summer of 2025, but if it does come slightly earlier, I don't think it'd be January. I think it'd be like April, right? So instead of an 18-month cycle, it'd be a 15-month cycle. Chaos Rebel says, LOL, good and playing dead cracks me up. One of my finest moments. Level Up Life, what's up? I sometimes think what would have happened if land required SPS stake and not DEC stake. Oh, what a fascinating idea. What a fascinating idea. Now you got me thinking about this. It would have been so much better. Screw the flywheel, man. We just need direct demand for SPS. Would have locked up a ton of SPS. You would have needed to stake it. People would have I get it. Flywheel, all that. But there's unlimited DEC. And that's part of the problem to me with this whole tokenomic model. There's unlimited DEC, and unfortunately, there's limited demand that's been declining for a while. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end there because that was such an interesting thought in my head. The gears are kind of turning in my head thinking about it a little bit more. But we are only 4 days back now, so thank you guys so much for tuning in, for leaving comments, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, night, whatever time it is, and week or weekend ahead whenever you watch this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.